you a mountain person or a beach person? Will you like to do bungee jumping or scuba diving? I can ask this question to you only because Earth have different shapes. Earth crust have different landforms, and Earth is a unique planet that consists all of these. Yes, my dear students, welcome on the platform Diksha Vedantu, and I am your SST faculty Tanvi Ma'am. Listen carefully. We have already completed those chapters in one short series when the book was not released, but as now the books are released, it is my duty that I need to cover everything from the NCERT line by line so that it will be helpful to all my pyare class 9 bacche, because you know that you have given me immense love in my previous videos, in my previous lecture, and it is high time we need to cover your syllabus entirely from NCERT. See, this video is not just going to be a video in which you are completing the chapter. Rather, this video will be the chapter's explanation in a way that every line from your NCERT is being covered, every question from the NCERT is being covered, every boxes, every diagram, every question, every important thing, everything about it is going to be covered. So this will be your one-stop solution to all the problems which you face day by day when you cover SST. Okay, so now feel relaxed. One thing that I want from your side right now is to take a pencil or a pen, take your copy, open your NCERT and start reading it in a way that I am reading. Okay, so it is not just going to be a one-way video, it is going to be a two-way video where I want your active participation when you are listening this, when you are studying from me. Ready? Okay, so let's start. Get set, go. Shaping of the Earth crust, class 9th, new NCERT as per the academic session 26-27, or I would say as per your new NCERT released by CBSE. Beta, what happened that this is some chapter that you already studied in class 7. However, this particular in class 9th is a better explanation to that chapter. How we are going to cover this entire chapter is basically the important thing, and then what we have to cover is also important thing. So how, right? Whenever you read NCERT, there is a pattern to read NCERT for SST, right? In the similar way, we are going to solve it today. The first thing what we will do is to read the NCERT line by line. Okay, read the NCERT line by line. Then I will be helping you to underline all those keywords which are very important. The third thing we will do is to learn all the definitions that are given in the boxes, right? Learn all the definition. I will give you time, you will be doing it. Learn the definition that is given in the boxes. The fourth thing that we will be doing is to solve all those NCERT questions that is given in our NCERT book right now in this video. Okay, and this will be our agenda for the day. Our agenda for all the lectures are going to come in this series NCERT line by line. Talking about the Earth crust, my dear student, what we need to cover in this chapter. There might be a possibility that some of the texts are not clear to you, but my agenda is not to show you the NCERT here because you already have it on your table. Rather to make you understand what is important from this page by what we have to understand from this page, what we have to underline from this page. Getting my point? So now what we have to understand from this chapter comes with a big question. Every chapter in your NCERT start with certain question. It does not mean that this question is going to come in your exam. Then what does it mean? But it means that these are the important areas on which this entire chapter is dependent upon, like shaping of the Earth crust. It will talk about what shapes the Earth's surface. If you feel that the shape of the Earth was exactly as it is right now, it is far from true. Why? Because it has evolved gradually like humans did. Similarly, the geographical locations we see, the areas we see, the plateaus, the mountains, the plain area, they were not exactly the same some million years back. Rather, they have evolved, they have changed due to certain factors which we have to study in this chapter. Second is about what is plate tectonics, what are the effect of plate movements. I believe that you might have seen various YouTube shorts showing the theory of plate tectonics and all. I know that students are very much into those types of shorts, right? We will talk about that theory, how are landform forms and how they are classified. So beta, all the landforms are not same, hence their formation might not always be same, obviously. Let us classify them on certain basis. How humans and other living beings connected to these landforms, very important, because this is social science, right? Study of the society. When we are talking about geography, we will talk about humans too. And the next is, how do disaster associated with different landform impact human life? Right now also we can see the news of floods in the region of Assam, right? Does not it affect the human life? It affects a lot. Okay, so this is what we have to study. First of all, when I talk about Earth, beta, Earth is a unique planet, right? Why it is a unique planet? Because of its location, because of the availability of air, because of the availability of all those things which actually give birth to humans and allow them to live, allow them to have a life. This is the only planet which have life. The first and the most important thing is that, right? And on the earth, the humans are living over the crust area. That means the top layer of the earth, right? Which is known as earth crust. But we know that this earth crust is not consistent, not even throughout everywhere. I don't know where you guys live. You can share me that in the comment section. I'm not aware about that, but I particularly believe that some of you might be living near the coastal regions. You might be seeing the beaches every day. While there might be a person living in central area seeing a dream that one day I will go and see those beaches. There might be a student watching me right now living in the mountain region where we are dreaming in the metro cities that somewhere we go to those mountains and chill and relax too. So basically, yes, in India, not only in India, over the earth, bacha, there are somewhere people living in mountains. There are areas that are filled with glaciers. There are areas which are coastal regions connected to sea. Right? There are areas which are over plateau. There are areas where large scale agriculture is being done because alluvial plain area is there and a lot more, and hence we can conclude that the earth surface is not consistent. It is consistently being transformed by powerful sources acting from within and on the surface of the planet. Now, the 2 points, see, whatever I am marking today is something that you also need to mark in your NCERT, right? That you also need to mark in your NCERT. So, beta, the earth surface is formed by certain powerful forces that acted within as well as on the surface of the planet. From here comes two terms, that is one intrusive force, right? One is intrusive force and the other one is extrusive force. Intrusive forces as well as the extrusive forces. Now, what are those intrusive and extrusive forces? Beta, intrusive forces are the forces, okay, that are applied from within of the earth. Applied from within of the earth. You will understand everything. Meanwhile, we proceed with the session. Meanwhile, we proceed with the explanation. So, intrusive forces are the forces that are applied on the surface of the earth from within. Right? However, extrusive forces are the forces that are applied from outside, right? That are applied from outside of the earth. You know that both of these forces results into the formation of different type of landform. Both of these forces result into the formation of what, beta? Various different type of landforms like mountains somewhere where you can enjoy your Maggie, or beaches somewhere where you can chill, lay down, relax. So how these different landforms came? Because of forces. And what are those? Intrusive and extrusive, inside as well as outside. Mark it right now in your NCERT that these points are important. If you are worrying about ma'am, do we need to make these notes along with you? Then don't worry. You have to, by the way. But if in case you have short of time, I will be sharing the same PDF written with my handwriting in the description box so that you can enjoy the same. Okay. Now, one of the most important ideas that explain these changes in the theory of plate tectonic, which describes how large pieces of earth crust move slowly over the molten magma. So basically, we have to understand the plate tectonic theories, etc. Now, the one and the most important thing that should come in our mind is, beta, what are landforms, right? If I ask you a question, what is actually a landform? Now something is coming in your mind, ma'am, mountain, plateau, plains, etc. No, beta. Whenever we study any term in SST, in science, in maths, etc., everywhere, you should know a perfect definition. If a very short question comes in your exam, that define definition, what we have to do, landform is not defined definition by define landform, right? So a landform is a natural feature on the earth surface formed by processes such as weathering, erosion, deposition and the movement of the earth crust. So basically you will learn every term here in this chapter, but you have to understand that what is a landform. So beta, landform is a natural feature. Obviously it is formed due to the nature. Natural feature that is formed due to certain process. What are those processes? The processes are weathering, ठीक है भाई. The processes are erosion, okay. The process is deposition. I will explain each of them. You have to wait for it. As well as the movement of the earth crust, which creates lot of forces. The movement of the earth crust, which creates what? Lot of forces. Okay. Now comes to the point how it is created. But we got a theory that is known as theory of plate tectonics, right? It is the extension to the theory of continental drift theory, and this is known as plate tectonic theory, which is given to us by W.J. Morgan. Mark this. This is a one marker question that is going to come in your exam. Who gave this theory of plate tectonic? It is given by W.J. Morgan. Can you please see that how the important terminologies are highlighted by me? How the explanation is written by me in the margin areas? And this is the way you should write it in your NCERT. You need not to keep it plain, beta. There is no one giving you reward that by your NCERT looks beautiful, nothing is written over there. Right. As much as you write, you will learn it. Okay, so the theory is given by W.J. Morgan in Earth Science that explains the movement of the earth crust. According to this theory, the outermost layer is not single piece but is broken into several large and small pieces called tectonic plates. These plates move slowly over semi-molten areas. Now what is this kahani bhai? Right? Before making you this continental wali kahani or the plate tectonic kahani clear, let me tell you that first you have to understand the interiors of the earth. However, I believe that being in 9th standard, you know that, but we will complete it very nicely. So, beta, before studying the continental drift theory, you should understand the interiors of the earth. Okay, the question from this topic can come, obviously, the question can come about explain the 3 layers of the earth. Okay, what is the question? Explain the 3 layers of the earth. Okay, bye. So when we're in class 6, 7th, 8th, we studied that. What do we study? Explain the 3 layers of the earth. What do we study that? Beta, this is earth, right? This is earth. The uppermost layer of the earth is referred as what? Crust. It is referred as crust, and it is one of the thinnest layer of the earth, right? Below this crust lies the mantle, which is the thickest layer of the earth, and below that in the center lies the core. As you can see over the picture given in your NCERT, very nicely it is being explained that that if you cut and see the earth, in the center there will be inner core, after that there will be outer core, then there will be mantle, and there will be the outermost layer, that is crust. Outermost layer, that is crust. Okay beta, if we see that the crust, the outermost layer contains two plates, or what we can say, two things. One is continental, the land surface on which we are living, as well as the ocean surface too, right? We can see that there are a lot of rivers, there are a lot of oceans. They are what? Oceanic crust. Right? Below oceans, what it is? It is actually land only. So beta, if this is the crust, right? If this is the crust, it is also not even. Why? Somewhere there will be continental crust, somewhere there will be oceanic crust, like that. So the width varies from continental crust to the oceanic crust, because here there will be what? Water all around. Water all around. And hence, the width is somewhere in the oceanic crust around 5 kilometer and in the continental crust around 30 kilometer. You know what lies below this? Right? You understand the point. The crust is also not even. We have uneven landforms. Somewhere there is continent, that is all land, and somewhere there is oceanic, that means all water. Now coming to the point that what lies beneath it. You know that if you see the plastic, right? If you see the plastic, go and burn it, you will find a semi-molten state type of liquid. We can't call it liquid, but something that is not either in the solid state or not even in the liquid state. This is something that we find below this crust, okay? And this is the part of mantle. The width of the mantle is up till 2,900 kilometers, and beyond that lies the core. Core is also divided into two parts, inner core as well as the outer core. Just a question to all the students watching me right now. Which core is liquid and which core is solid? Please let me know. And the composition of core is basically Fe, right? Nickel plus iron. Pay attention. It is what beta? Nickel plus iron. Okay. So this was a brief introduction. Now crust. If the definition comes beta, what you have to write? Let's see what is written in NCERT. Earth is made up of three main layers. Whenever certain number-based thing comes in NCERT, mark it, underline it. Question is going to come straight from there. So basically, it is made up of how many layers? 3 layers. Question can come, explain the 3 layers of the earth, crust, mantle, and core. What you are going to write on the crust? It is the outermost layer on which we live. What is live? Okay, so below the crust lies the mantle. However, the mantle is quite thick. When we are talking about crust, it contains two type of landforms, like oceanic crust as well as what, bacha? Continental crust, right? Getting my point? Okay. The next is about mantle. It is a thickest layer and it is in some semi-molten state. Whenever we see ocean, okay, for example, you can see a river or ocean, right? Throw a wooden block over it which is light in weight. What you will see? It will float over it. In a similar way, over that molten magma, that molten liquid which is known as magma, actually beta, the earth crust is floating. It is moving because it is not a single landform connected to each other. I will give you the theory about that. It is not a single landform, rather it is plate which is known as plate tectonics, which are moving over those molten magma. Ma'am, please explain this. We are not able to understand. Yes, you have to wait for it. Okay, first you have to understand beta, this all crust which contains oceanic and continental crust, this is known as lithosphere, right? You might have studied this in the class 7th, lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, right? All sphere of land. Okay? Below the sphere of land lies a region that is basically the top layer of mantle, that is referred as asthenosphere. This is semi-solid state of molten magma on which the earth crust is floating. Okay, the layer is referred as beta what? Asthenosphere. Asthenosphere along with the crust is known as lithosphere. Pay attention to that. Asthenosphere along with the crust is known as what, beta? Lithosphere, right? Then we have mantle, then we have core. All the definitions are listed here. You just need to learn it. Now come towards the theory, ma'am, that you left, beta. Now what happened now? According to the theory, million years back, the earth looked like this, ma'am. Now also the earth looks like this. No. Why? Because beta, it is a theory, and there were certain challenges, certain questions raised over it. However, the theory is proved by certain pointers which I am going to explain you. First, let us understand. So, according to the theory, beta, there was only and only one land mass. Yes. Do you mean that North America was connected to South America? All those were connected with Europe and Africa? Yes. Everything was connected, and that single landmass was known as supercontinent. Okay, beta, the scientific term given to it is Pangea. What it is? Pangea, right? It was a supercontinent, super landmass surrounded by water all over it, right? Surrounded by water all around it, and this was known as Panthalassa. This was known as what? Panthalassa. All water, all land. But you know that this is not exactly the same earth we have right now. How did it change? The question comes now. Beta, it changed because of forces. Yes, those forces I explained you in the starting, intrusive forces as well as extruding forces. Now what happened? There are a lot of forces applied on earth. For example, the first here is the tidal force. Okay, tidal force. Why I am talking about tidal force here? This supercontinent is surrounded by water from all the sides. Supercontinent is surrounded by water from all the sides, and regularly when this water with pressure is colliding with the surface of the earth, what will happen, beta? It will leads to one thing, and that is known as drifting. Drifting means breaking. Drifting means what? Breaking. And you know that this is not just the one force that is applied. Rather, there is gravitational force, okay? Or I would say gravitational pull, okay? Gravitational pull by moon as well as sun. Moon as well as sun. You know, similar such gravitational force is there with earth too. So yes, the earth also applies the gravitational pull towards it. Okay? There are certain other forces which are applied due to rotation as well as revolution of the earth, right? Rotation as well as the revolution of the earth, which results into drift. That means dividing, breaking. How? Let us see how. So then what happened? We got the structure of the earth in a way, beta, that this supercontinent divided into two parts. Please neglect the shape of the earth. Okay? So divided into two parts. The northern one was known as Laurasia, ठीक है, and the southern is known as Gondwana. It is known as Gondwana, right? The water that passes in between was referred as Tethys Sea. Okay, it is referred as Tethys Sea. Do you think that these forces are going to be stopped? No. Now what happens? This drifting continued. So and so on. What happens, beta? This Laurasia further divided into two parts. This Gondwana further divided into three parts, right? Drifting continued more, and certain small parts of the surface got divided, and it created the formation of the islands, as well as created the structure of the earth in a way it is right now. Like if you look and see, this is what? North America. And this is what? I'm not good in drawing, by the way. It can be a rough one. And this is what, beta? This is Eurasia. This is what? Eurasia. Okay? Then we have what, beta? Africa over here, and we have Australia over here. Right? And then we have Antarctica over here. So this is the present surface of the earth, which is formed due to certain forces which we just saw. This particular is known as beta continental drift theory, which further extends about the plate tectonics theory given by Morgan. What Morgan told us that by this is what these are plates, right? But here the kahani is not ended, the story is not ended yet, because beta these plates are lot of plates. Right? There are certain major plates, as well as minor plates, major plates and minor plates, like North American plate, South American plate, Pacific A plate, Eurasian plate, right? Indo-Austrian plate, and a lot more. Antarctic Arctic plate, right? So there are certain major plates as well as minor plates. Are these plates moving? Yes, they are moving because of the drifting forces as well as the magma that is present below it, because that magma allow them to float over them. Right? When they allowed them to float over them, different type of plate boundaries are formed. Different types of what, bacha? The plate boundaries are formed. Like here, tectonic plates are massive slabs of rockets, solid rocks. That move very slowly, usually a few centimeters per year. However, there are three major types of tectonic plates. Take your NCERT market. How many type of tectonic plates are there, beta? There are three major type of tectonic plate. Number one, continental plate, obviously all landmass. The second is oceanic plate, that means all water, as well as which carry ocean floor, as well as mixed plate which carry both continental and oceans. So how many types of tectonic plates are there? There are three major. Okay? There are three major types of tectonic plates. What are those tectonic plates? There are three major types of tectonic plates, and what are those? Number one is beta, सबसे पहले it is continental plate, which means all landmass. Then we have oceanic plate, right? We have what, bacha? Oceanic plate, that means all water, as well as the third one, that is mixed plate. And these plates are known as plates. How when they move, it is known as plate tectonics, tectonic movements. Right? Do you know that because of these movements, certain landforms results into formation? And the movements are also on the different basis. Like, see, it is very much clear. We are student of science. We are well aware about that. Whenever we put a slab of what we can say, slab of wood over the river, it will float in different way. Plastic sheet, it will float in different ways. So the density, the nature of these plates actually affect the movement, right? There might be times when two plates, because of the moving over the molten magma, they might collide. They might somewhere drift apart from each other, because that rotation, revolution forces are applied on it continuously. So because of that, we have different boundaries also, beta. Right? Because of these different plates, we result into different boundaries that we need to understand. See, by this particular picture, it is quite clear how the movement is going on. See, this is core, outer core and inner core. Okay? Outer core and inner core, there are certain activities like conduction, convection, advection, which is going on in this zone. This zone is the heat transport mechanism, because see, we are well aware that as below we go in the earth surface, what will happen? The temperature will increase. It is so much heat over there. So all those heat mechanism is going there. Because of this high temperature, a lot of pressure is being applied on magma. Magma being in semi-solid state start moving there. When it moves, it also leads to the movement of what, beta? Floating of what? Continental, oceanic and mixed plate over this crust. Because of the heat flow. This is only and only possible because of the heat that is coming from the core. I hope that everything is visually very much clear to you. If you think that, ma'am, how do we know about the interiors of the earth? Beta, science have moved way beyond of our thinking. right? So it has done lot of discoveries through direct sources as well as through certain indirect sources. We got to know about all these. ठीक है? The movement of tectonic plate is caused by convection currents in the mantle. Why these convection currents are possible? Because it is in molten state material. If question comes that why the movement is there in the mantle, because the earth core causes molten material in the mantle to rise, right? And the cooler material to sink. What happens when we fill the bucket, right, with cold water and then with warm water, we try to mix, but initially what will happen, that warm water will be over the upper layer and the cool one will sink, and because of this heat coming from the core, the cool part will sink and the warmer part will rise, and the circle goes on and on, movement goes on and on. This creates convection currents that push and pull the tectonic plates, that basically move the tectonic plates. What are the tectonic plates? Continental, oceanic as well as mixed. Which surface of the earth? Crust of the earth, that is outermost layer. Getting my point now? Everything, the picture is clear. By the way, very good description is given in the new NCERT. Now beta, what happened when these plate tectonics move with each other, move over the mantle? It creates certain boundaries. It creates what beta? Plate boundaries, and there are certain types of plate boundaries. So because of this movement of molten magma, there leads to the formation of plate boundaries, and the plate boundaries are as follows. Number one is convergent boundary. Okay, convergent boundary. Fine. Then we have divergent boundary. Convergent boundary is done. Then we have divergent boundary. Fine. And the third one, that is transform boundary. That is what bacha? Transform boundary. ठीक है? What are actually those terminologies? So there are three main type of plate tectonic. The first is convergent boundary, where two plates move towards each other. When continental plates collide, they formed fold mountains such as the Himalayas. Now when an oceanic plate collides with a continental plate, the oceanic plate sinks beneath the continental plate, leading to volcanic activity and what? Earthquake. Now ma'am, we can also read it directly from NCERT, but I was telling you that this is the great explanation of convergent boundaries that you have to understand. Now visualize it. Let us visualize. Let me take two things first to show you the plate boundaries. Beta, what happened now? The first one is convergent boundary. Now the point is, ma'am, what is actually convergent boundary and what are the possibilities? So beta, over the earth crust there are three different type of plates. I'm taking two basically because they are the major one. Convergent plate boundary here means the movement of the plates in a manner that they are coming or colliding with each other, right? Coming or colliding with each other. What can be the permutation combination here? One, either it can be a continental plate, that means a land surface, ठीक है? Continental plate, ठीक है? This can also be a continental plate, or there is a chance that there are two continental or oceanic plate, or it can be a chance there is an oceanic plate and oceanic plate. Now ma'am, what happens in all these three situations? Beta, what happens? See, this is one plate, ठीक है, and this is one plate over the other. So now these plates are floating over the molten magma. What happened? This converge, because convergent boundary is being formed. Now when this converge, this will happen like this, and beta, right, what will happen? It will form fold mountains. It will form fold mountains. So whenever two plate boundaries coming towards each other and they are continental boundaries, beta, they will form a new landform, that is fold mountains. Now Second point, ma'am, what happens when there is one a continental plate and the other one is the oceanic plate? One is continental plate and the other one is oceanic plate. When they come together, converge with each other, right? Right? Pay attention. When they come together, converge with each other, this oceanic plate will sink beyond it. It will go below this. Okay, and the land surface will come over it. Ma'am, do we have any example of that? Yes, bhai, why not? You are studying with your Tanvi ma'am. Beta, see, whenever we see the map of India, right? Whenever we see the map of India, whenever you see a 3D map, you will analyze the western boundaries little bit upward. Western Ghats is also of more height than Eastern Ghat. Why? Because once the Tithys Sea submerged below it, because there was a convergent boundary between continental and oceanic. Okay, getting my point? Now, what is the case, ma'am, when there is oceanic and oceanic? Beta, when there is oceanic and oceanic, whichever have high density just sink and submerge. Getting my point? And in these two cases, there are chances of volcanic activities as well as earthquake too, because it leads to the tremor in the what? In the land mass, in the earth crust, in the plates. Okay, convergent boundary clear? Yes, ma'am, clear. Next, divergent boundaries. Now, these are the two plates, right? Moving away from each other, destroying the land surface. Okay, destroying the land surface. However, it later results into formation of some of the land surface. These are the two land boundaries separating from each other. Here can also be a chance that the boundaries are continental or oceanic and so and so. Easy one. It is divergent boundary. Now, what is transform, beta? Transform is in a way that there are two plates like this, they are moving. This they are moving, forming no landform, destroying no landform. And here, let us read what is written. Let's change the pen to make you clear that which lines are important. Second type is divergent boundary, where plates move away from each other. What happened in this case? Magma rises from below because you are creating the space in the earth crust. Okay, you are giving the mantle the space to come out. Okay, so the magma comes out and forms a new crust, creating new features such as mid-ocean ridges, etc. The mid-Atlantic ridge is a good example. So yes, mid-Atlantic ridge, you can see it on a map, I'll show you by the way, is the good example of divergent plate boundary. Then we have transform boundary too. Okay, we have transform boundary too, when plates slide past each other, without creating or destroying any of the crust that I just told you. Okay, so this type of movement mainly causes earthquakes such as along the San Andreas Fault in United States. So you should know the definition, the meaning, the result of it, as well as the example of it. Like when I talk about convergent boundary, two boundaries collide with each other. If two land boundaries are there, result into the formation of fold mountains. What is the example? Himalayas is the example. Talking about divergent boundaries, two boundaries moving away from each other, creating what? New landform. Mid-Atlantic ridges is the example. What is transform? Sliding against each other, neither creating nor destroying. What is the example? San Andreas Fault in United States. Getting my point? But I know the lecture is going slow. You might be thinking that, ma'am, how long it is? But I assure you, I particularly assure you, after this you need not to go anywhere. Right? Just one thing, whatever I am writing, if you are capable of write it along with it, mark it in NCERT, great. If not, I am going to share this with you. Okay, let's study, yaar. Let's study SST nicely. Let's change the objective that SST is a boring subject. What is this? SST is a boring subject. No, it is very interesting subject. Okay, so here is a picture of the major plates given over your book. Beta, you can have a look and understand what I just explained to you with my visual drawings, that this is North American plate, South American plate, which drifted later with African plate. See, I will tell you. Okay, then there is an Eurasian plate, Indo-Austrian plate, Pacific plate. Now what happened na beta, when this theory was given obviously by the geologist, certain proofs were asked that bhai prove it, prove that your theory is correct. Can you please see that beta, this is South America plate or South America right now. If you see, can it be attached to it and form a single landmass as per the theory of continental drift? Yes. See, this is the same location it can find. Why? Because when we jigsaw it, okay, you might have played that jigsaw puzzle, na? So when we attach it with each other, it may collide. Not all of them, but yes, a lot of them, because after that also a lot of drifting took place, which definitely changed the boundary locations, boundaries, etc. Okay, like when I talk about Himalayan mountains in India, right? Himalayan mountains in India, do you know that we got oceans, remains of oceans as well as marine animals over there? How come marine animal fossils comes on mountains? Because beta, it was first attached, or it was the part surrounded by the water. Later, when this Indo-Austrian plate moved further and it get collided with the Eurasian plate, it resulted into the formation of the Great Himalayas. Okay, so this is the theory. Now, world map showing major plates and their directions of movement. Have a look at it. We will not even leave a single part of NCERT in this video. Now, plate tectonic play a major role in shaping the earth surface. Fine. The movement of plate lead to the formation of mountains. Yes. Now, this is exactly the point of the chapter, because what is the name of the chapter? Shaping of the earth crust. In a way that somewhere there are mountains, somewhere there are valleys, somewhere there are different landforms. Acha, here one example is also given. Beta, what happened? Continental floor and ocean floors are there. Whenever the plate movement is there, it sometimes leads to earthquakes and volcanoes. Here we have the example of ring of fire. It is in the Pacific Ocean, which is known for frequent earthquakes as well as volcanoes. It is the result because these plate movements are extreme at that place. Okay, so let's examine the plate map with the earthquake and volcanoes map. What correlation do you observe? Think about that. I'm just coming in a second. Okay, we are back again, and here the point is beta. So because of the collision as well as the what we can say moving away of the earth crust as well as the plates particularly, what happened? It leads to certain activities like earthquake and volcano. So one question that should come into our mind for obvious, and if it is not coming in your mind, think about it, there is a problem. You're not full concentrated in the lecture. So basically what happened? The question is there any place in India which have high risk of earthquake? Yes, there is. Beta, you can see in this map, right, in this map of the world, where this red wala part is marked, now this is earthquake origin. And when I talk about India, this northern part where there are Himalayan region, it is highly prone to what beta? Earthquake as well as landslides. Now, how do landslides happen? Because of the shaking of the earth, tremors, etc. in the mountainous region. So yes beta, India has experienced some major earthquakes in the past, resulting in thousands of deaths. A large earthquake in a densely populated country like India can cause severe damage to life and environment. Can you find out the region? I will tell you the region. Yes, it is. This picture is from the Gujarat wala part. However, the Himalayas are like most, I will not say that only Himalaya is a region in India which is prone to earthquake, but Himalayan region is the most like prone to earthquake wala region, most prone to earthquake. Okay? However, the tremors are like faced by other parts in the India too, and 2001 Gujarat earthquake is a part of it, is an example of it, right? Chaliye. Now let's move to the second part. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. When it is written in your NCERT, don't miss this means that we should not, because up till now we have a habit till class 8 leaving all those boxes. Tell me honestly, is it the habit? Yes. See, in early times two earthquake were known as bhukamp. Basically beta, what they have done, what I like about new NCERT is that they have Indianized the NCERTs. They took certain phrases, hymns, the mentions from the earliest Indian literature that was written at that time. So here they are referring that yes, in early times earthquake was referred as bhukamp, meaning the shaking of the earth in the Brihat Samhita. Okay, in the Brihat Samhita that was written by Varaha Mihira. So now you have to mark it. There is a book that is known as Brihat Samhita. Samhita basically some like encyclopedia. Okay, and it is written by Varaha Mihira, one of the ancient philosopher of that time, dedicated a section to earthquake, noting how changes in wind, rain, cloud, animal behavior and planetary alignment could signal them. When we were in class 6, class 7, one question usually used to come that by how the human behavior changes. So beta, animal behavior changes. So they react in a different way because they can feel that frequency, that waves at earlier. So yes, he attributed earthquake to 4 major elements of the earth. 4 major elements. We are well aware about that. That is Vayu, that means wind, right? The next one here is Agni. Agni, that means fire. Then we have Indra. Indra basically is referred as the god of thunder, or what we can say heaven or thunder. And then we have Varun. So yes, we know that because of all these 4 forces that is applied from the exteriors of the earth, which is referred as extrusive forces, result into what beta? Into earthquake. Now, yes, each linked to specific constellation and region. This reflects an early attempt to blend observation with cosmological reasoning and philosophical phenomena in India. Beta, cosmology, philosophy, everything was the part of Indian history, ancient Indian literature, and we have great particularly writers about them. It is just we need to study, right? So look carefully at this photograph and answer the following question. What do you think about this situation, right? So basically you can see that beta, this is a mountainous area, right? Mountainous area where the livelihood is being disrupted because of certain reason, and you can see only and only ashes around it, ashes over everything. So it is the result of volcanic eruption. It is the result of volcanic eruption. When the lava cools down, it releases a lot of ashes also along with it. What does that gray powder is? It is ashes after the burning of it. What does it tell us about earth interior forces? It tells that beta, what we learned about that convectional forces that leads to the movement of molten magma. When there is tremor on the earth, it comes out as volcanic eruption. I hope now this picture is too clear to you. The mud volcano at Bartalang Island is a rare natural wonder in earth, right? Now where they are talking about, it is in Andaman and Nicobar beta. All these terminologies can come as one marker question, not a terminology but a fact. Okay, question can come in a way ki where is this Bartalang Island? So Bartalang Island is where beta? In Andaman and Nicobar. What is Andaman and Nicobar? Island in India. Okay, and why it is famous? It is famous for natural wonder, for a unique attraction because of a result of volcanic eruption. Okay, Achha, one quick question to all the students right now here. Do you know that there are different type of volcanoes? Dormant, which was active sometimes back but is not active from a longer period of time. But one more is there, that is active volcano. And the question to all my students which I want in the comment section as answer is, which is the only active volcano in India and where it is? I want the name as well as the location. Okay, quick, fast. Fine. So now here we are done with beta what? Interiors of the earth. Now what we are done? We are done with the forces that leads to the formation of different landforms. However, now we are moving towards the second stage of this chapter, which talks about the exterior forces. That means forces outside the earth crust that leads to different landforms and their formation. In this theory, we need to understand two phenomena. One is process of weathering and the other one is erosion. What beta? Weathering as well as erosion. We will start with weathering. What is weathering, my dear student? Weathering is the process through which rocks on the earth's surface break down into smaller pieces. Now, you might have seen, beta, there is a big rock getting like what we can say, breakage in it, and eventually leading it to two parts. What is that process known as? We know that, beta, this gradual process is going on, and this is how soil is formed later, right? This is how sediments are carried from one place to another. But before that, one thing is very important, that is breaking of the rock due to various forces. It can be the force of wind, it can be the force of water, it can be because of any reason, right? It can be because of the force applied by a tree that whose roots are roots are carrying that rock for a longer period of time, and when that pressure created, it got broke down into two pieces. So weathering is a process when a big rock broke down into pieces, right? Broke down into pieces, but at the same place. It does not move. That phenomena is known as weathering. That phenomena is what, bacha? Weathering. Okay. There are three types of weathering processes. There are three types of weathering process. The first one is physical weathering. Okay. The first one is physical weathering. The second one is chemical weathering. And the third one is biological weathering. Now, what are these, beta? When I talk about physical weathering, pay attention. It is due to the physical features like wind, water. Whenever there is a running river coming from extreme pressure from the mountains, and eventually that water is like colliding with a piece of rock for a long period of time, it will create pressure. When you put hammer on something, it will break down eventually, right? That force of running water is like a hammer, bacha. So yes, physical heating, cooling, water, wind and ice, all these leads to breaking of rock. That is known as physical weathering. It does not move from its place. The second can also be caused due to the chemical substances that is present in the air or in the rain, acid rain. And the third one is biological. You can have a look in this picture how the roots of the plant is holding a rock which creates immense pressure leading to the breakage, and hence this is known as what? Weathering. Okay? So there are three types of weathering, and the definition very important. Separate very short answers can come, and an altogether 5-marker question can come. Explain weathering. What are the different type of weathering? Let me write the question here. Explain the process of, right? Explain the process of weathering. Okay? Separate as a 2-marker question. Also can come together with how many, right? How many types of weathering? Types of weathering are there? How many types of weathering is there? Fine? Clear? Okay, one question done. Now, moving towards the second topic, that is erosion. I hope you are highlighting in a manner I am doing, right? I missed this biological wala part and then back, but highlight it, okay? Erosion. Now, what is the erosion method, beta? Now, these rocks that are broken into pieces, when moved from one place to another, when transported from one place to another due to certain natural forces, again, wind, water, ocean currents, etc., that is known as erosion, right? So erosion is the process by which soil, rock or any other surface material are worn away or carried away from one place to another by natural agents like water, wind, ice or waves. I'm not here only talking about rock. I'm here rather talking about certain other things too. And what are they? It can be soil which is carried away. It can be any sediment which is carried away. It can be a rock that is broken into pieces because of weathering. When it is carried away from one place to another with the help of running water, wind, ice or waves, it causes erosion. Now, one more question that will come in your exam. Write 3 differences. Okay, write 3 differences between what beta? Yes, you're guessing it right, between weathering and erosion, right? Mark my words, this will be the question for sure in your next exam when you are sitting in the exam. Okay, just neglect whenever I am getting dark, why I am like in the dark right now, so that this particular thing, this chapter is visible to you. Okay, let's carry forward. There are several types of erosion, like water erosion. Whenever the sediments are carried because of water, it causes water erosion, right? The water here, I mean river, rain, ocean waves. Okay? Then we have wind erosion, when the sediments are carried by the wind. Glacier erosion, when the sediments are carried by because of the forces of glaciers. And then we have coastal erosion, when sea waves or ocean currents takes those beta sediments. Now, so pay attention to that. We have to make a small note in the margin that there are different types of erosion. There are different types of erosion. What is erosion? Erosion is a process in which sediments are transported from one place to another because of the natural agents like wind, water, river, ice and waves. There are different types of erosion. Number 1 here is water erosion. Here water includes running water on the surface of the earth. Water includes river, rain or oceanic waves. Then we have the second type, that is wind erosion. We have the second type, that is wind erosion. Third type, that is glacial. Okay, bhai, spoiling my things. Third is glacial erosion. Okay, I need to learn this use of pen in a better way now. The next is about coastal erosion. Okay, so there are beta 4 type of erosional activities, and a question 4 obvious is going to come from this topic. Next is beta erosion affect a lot of things, obviously, right? Because of erosion, what happens? The landform is disrupted, which was already there, right? The material is transported and deposited to another place. So there are 2 activities which create the landform. One is erosional. At a place, the landform, different landform will form, or because of disruption, from where the material is transported and to the place where it is deposited. So it includes 2 type of activities, erosional as well as depositional, which leads to the formation of different type of landforms. And beta, because of this agents, okay, because of this agents only, lot of landforms are formed, which we have to study. You know what are these natural forces known as? These natural forces are referred as agents of gradation. They are known as beta agent of gradation, because that gradation is the process of disrupting the landform, right? So agents of gradation are those natural forces that wear down, that transport and deposit material on the earth's surface, helping either to level or smooth it over the time. The main agents are running water, glacier, wind, waves and groundwater. Okay, what beta? Running water, glacier, wind, waves and groundwater. What is this? Don't miss it, ma'am. You are missing it. No, beta. I'm not going to miss any part of this NCERT right now. Talking about this, beta, the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. So again, a chapter in your book itself about Indus Valley civilization, right? Indus Valley civilization, the term that is given by British historians, and hence we are calling it as Sindhu-Saraswati civilization here. You know, it has sophisticated techniques including contouring, bunding and terracing. Now what are these methods? Pay attention, it is written over here, which we will read nicely. There were dams as well as canal for water management. Basically, beta, if we talk about Indus Valley civilization or Sindhu-Saraswati civilization, this is the first urbanized cities. This was the first urbanized areas of India, in a way that it was so great that even later on we did not find any such, what we can say, settlement in Indian history. So now what happened na beta? They were including the process like water management process. Yeah, dams were built at that time. That's great. Multiple Sanskrit texts document these practice, including Ved. In Ved also it is being written as Krishi Parasar. Basically the type of irrigation method used in what? Agriculture. In Kautilya Arthashastra and specified treaties like Vrikshayurveda. Vrikshayurveda. Now what is Vrikshayurveda? Basically, getting my point here? So special Ved written in respect to this. The Arthashastra contained detailed guidelines on land assessment and categorization based on fertility and productivity. In Zabo system in Nagaland, now this is also the local system, represent an integrated farming approach using earthen bunds or hill slopes for soil and water. So beta, right now the terminologies which we study, that is terrace farming, contour plowing, etc., are not the modern techniques. They are referring that in our ancient text all the details are given. A question as a 1-marker question, Zabo system belong to which region of India? Beta, it belongs to Nagaland. What does it talk about? It talks about the use of farming, integrated farming approach using earthen bunds on hilltops. So basically, it was a method in which what was done, beta? Farming was done on the hilly region. Farming was done on the hilly region. Earthen bunds, like the surfaces were made and here soil and water conservation was done. Okay? Now these 3 methods, contouring, bunding and terracing, the earthen bunds which is written here. So beta, a continuous contour trench is a water conservation technique in which trenches are dug along the contour lines of a hillside. Now what happens, beta? This is hill. Okay? This is hill which can be used for farming obviously because it also have soil, but the water comes in a way that it flow down, and hence we cannot use it for irrigation. So what do they do here? Along the contour lines, they basically made channels, okay, or what we can say trench. Trench is basically a gadda like this, right? A hole like this, deep. So here they can store the water and can use it for the future use, or it can be done in the between the mountains in the contour line in the opposite direction in a way that the water slow down, hold, infiltrates the rainwater, preventing the soil erosion also, because whenever the water is coming with extreme pressure, it also takes away the soil along with it and get it eroded. Okay? So this is the method. We use it in contour. We use it as contour plowing also. Next is about bunding. Bunding is basically earthen embankments. Now what? Let me tell you that if it is an agriculture field, what they will do, they will create a high platform, okay, taking the soil, earthen embankments, bunding will be done so that whenever extreme water comes, right, it get naturally stored and infiltrates in the soil, leading to natural irrigation over there. Slow down the surface runoff, and even whenever with extreme pressure water will come, it will take the soil away. So to prevent the soil erosion, these type of method is being used. Terracing, beta, you know that on the hillside terraces are created. Terrace, of flat surface is created on which what will be done? Agriculture practices can be done. See, from where? From landforms we moved to this place. Okay? Now coming back to what we were learning about weathering and erosion. The difference of 2 phenomena is done. Now by which we know that erosion occurs because of different reasons. That reason is natural agents. Natural agents which are known as agents of gradation, which causes different erosion, 1 point, but it also leads to the formation of different landforms, the 2nd point. Now we will learn it accordingly, that we learn each of them separately, like running water alag, wind alag, and all of them. Okay? So beta, what happened? Don't miss this box. I will suggest you to read it. Go and read it. It is very important. What does it contain? So if we look at the map of India, we will find different landforms. Somewhere it is mountains, somewhere there are plateaus, somewhere there are plains, and every city located on that region has a reason. Like why Uttar Pradesh and Bihar is the most populous region in India also has a reason, because the sediments that are brought by Ganga and Brahmaputra river creates alluvial plain over there, which is highly populated because it is intensively cultivated. So yes, even today history shows the war, the settlement, trade, culture, growth, which is deeply affected by India's physical feature. It is caused by it is formed by different agents of gradation, in which the first is running water. Beta, water is running over the surface of the earth in the form of rivers, in the form of lakes, in the form of waterfalls, in the form of various things. Let us talk about them. So rivers shape this process of erosion, transportation and deposition. Now what is erosion? When this product is carried, then transported and then deposited. In this three particular process, various landforms are formed, in which one is beta V-shaped valley. Okay? Then we have a waterfall, we have rapids due to steep gradation and strong erosive forces. We have Oxbow Lake, I will explain all of them. We have floodplains, we have delta, we have levee, we have alluvial fans. But you know that all these features are formed due to different reasons. Like the particular one here, like it is the result of erosional activity. It is the result of erosional activity. Okay? Beta, here the heading is a gradation agent, that is running water. Right? When this running water causes erosion, it leads to the formation of either U-shaped valley, or it leads to the formation of V-shaped valley. Ma'am, what are those? Please explain. Yes, for obviously. Beta, what happened na? Between the mountain lies those valley. Okay? Between two mountains, the ridge that joins it is a valley. Now what happened, beta? On these mountains, for example, river Ganga originates from Gangotri glacier, and there is in further there is what, beta? There is a valley, right? Now either this valley will be U-shaped or this valley is V-shaped. How does it form? Beta, whenever the erosion is more at the lateral aspect, that means that the pressure created by this flowing river is created more in lateral way. Lateral way means like this. What will happen? The shape will be V-shaped valley. This is a valley, this is a mountain. So it was like this. But whenever the erosion is more in a horizontal way, the river's flow is such that it creates what? U-shaped valley, right? Whenever there is a block of rock, hard rock, which is not eroded by river, but eventually there comes a soft rock eroded by the river is flowing, and this will create what? A waterfall. Okay? This will create a what, beta? Waterfall. So basically U-shaped valley, V-shaped valley, waterfall, as well as rapids. Rapids means rocks over there. Whenever we go for particularly whenever we go in Rishikesh and do that, let's do boating, right? I don't know what to call that term. We will found certain rapids. Rapids means like whenever water is collided with different rocks. So these are the result of what? Erosional activity, and it is formed because of running water, that is an agent of gradation. Okay? Now whenever this sediments broken down by the running water, particularly transport, right, move from one place to another, it form different features now. And what are those? See, pay attention to that. Now we are moving towards transportation. We are moving towards what, beta? We are moving towards transportation. Now what happens? It results to the formation of meander. Okay? It results to the formation of meander, then it results to the formation of Oxbow Lake or levees. Now what are those terminology? See, one river, okay, one river is flowing, but because of the permutation combination of soft rock or hard rock, whenever the flow of the water is in a way that it is zigzag, this is particularly known as meander. This is particularly known as meander. But sometimes what may happen, beta? This river is particularly carrying the sediments. This river is particularly carrying the sediments. And when the sediment is deposited in its way, like here, what is deposited, beta? Sediments are deposited. You know, this part of this particular river will be separated. This part of this particular river will be separated, which is known as Oxbow Lake. Getting my point? How these landforms are formed? See, crazy it is. One more thing, beta, right? Because of the deposition of these sediments, see, this is the river and this is the plain region alongside the river. Now, whenever these sediments are deposited here and it form a raised surface matlab little bit high weight, chotu sa hill here. Okay, this is known as levees. Okay? And it is only formed because of this transportational activity caused due to running water. Getting? Very good. Now coming towards the depositional part. Okay? Now coming towards the landforms that are formed because of the depositional. When the sediments actually get deposited over there, what will be formed? Beta, it will form various landform features like alluvial plain area. By sediments get deposited evenly and create a plain area, or it can form alluvial fans. Either it can form delta too. Even levees is also one of the example of depositional. We can consider it and deposition. Okay? What is delta? By the way, what is delta? So delta is a place where the sediments of the river is deposited all together before getting merged into ocean. Okay, let me tell you, beta. So see, river Ganga and Brahmaputra is coming long way, right? Long way from the Himalayan mountains, carrying lot of broken sediments from that, right? Up till when the river have the capacity to hold those sediments, na, it has like it will drop from distance to distance because the pressure of river Ganga that is in the mountain is not in the plain areas. Because of the plain landform, right? So here there is lot of pressure, lot of sediments are being coming with them. Now they started depositing the sediments which are left with the river and get deposited in an area before getting merged with ocean. That area is known as what? Delta. And the delta formed by river Ganga, Brahmaputra is Sundarban Delta, largest delta of the world. What, my dear students? This is the largest delta of the book. Book nahi bhai, world. Okay, chalo. Let's move to the next feature. And here are certain good pictures, not the pictures that I made right now. There are pictures, beta. Yes, they can come like draw meander. Whenever the question comes as meander, you can draw it in the answer, which will give a good impression to the examiner that you know something, right? You know, because you learned from Tanvi Ma'am. Okay, so yes, see, this can also be used, waterfalls and all can also be used for generation of hydroelectricity. Okay, see, this is a river. This second one is hard rock which did not get eroded. Here there might be some time back what soft rock created a gap, and here the water is flowing. See, so water is dropping here and creating a pressure over here. A different landscape is formed, that is plunge pool. Okay, then when it flow further, it is known as river. This is meander. This is Oxbow Lake. Can see here. So what is meander? It is a winding curve or bend in the middle or lower section of river formed due to lateral erosion and deposition. Then we have delta also. I just explained you that it is formed at the mouth of the river. See, it is formed at the mouth of river where it flows into a sea or ocean. When it is going to be merged with another sea or ocean, deposit the sediment it has carried from upstream. So it deposit there all the sediments that it carry from upstreams. This usual landscape, what happens? Beta, it carries and it forms different landscape like fan shape or sometimes triangular areas of land. Okay? Because these are the sediments brought down from the upstreams of river. You know, they are fertile because it gets mixed with all those what we can say humus content. ठीक है, as well as fertile content which is ideal for agriculture. Like if I talk about the region where this delta is present, that is West Bengal wala part, ठीक है, where rice is grown, jute is grown, so it facilitates the growth of these crops. Okay, and yes, it is also an ideal ground for fishing also. Nearby it will connect with sea water, and hence it is ideal ground for aquatic life too. So yes, bhai, this is important. Now moving towards the next, this is the picture of Sundarban Delta. Question: why it is known as Sundarban Delta? So the question is moving towards waves and currents. Waves and currents. Now what is this, beta? Talking about waves and currents, they are constantly moving over the ocean surface. So bhai, this is particularly land. Here the waves are coming from ocean, ocean, ocean. Now as they are continuously in motion, right, what are wave currents? Whenever the water is moving in a single direction, ठीक है, or what is waves? Coming and going of the oceanic water, ठीक है, the movement, the usual movement, or what we can say cyclic movement of the oceanic water. So these are constantly moving towards the oceanic surface, and because of this movement they reshape the land along the coastal zone, exactly, and form lot of landform features like beaches, sandbar, sea cliff, sea caves, arches, as well as stacks. Just now we are going to see all those landform features. I'm not going to explain you beaches because I know every one of you know that. What is basically beach? It is made up of sand, pebbles or rocks that comes in the shoreline. That means that border area where the ocean meets the land and gets deposited. It is because of the depositional activity of waves or by the ocean currents. See the picture that is given here. ठीक है, so this is the picture, this is ocean, and this is beta what? This is the land area. This is beach. How it is formed? This ocean currents are bringing along with them what, beta? The sediments like sand, pebbles, getting it deposited leads to the formation of beach. Second is bay. Where is bay, beta? This is bay. So whenever there is a small land, a type of part of land in between ocean and land, this is known as bay. ठीक है, सी तो हमें दिख रहा है. Then we have headland. Where is headland? See, in this, the portion of the land that is more towards, in this way, more towards the sea, this is headland. Then we have sandbar. ठीक है, then we have sandbar. See, like this is particularly beach, but whenever in the ocean lot of sand is deposited at distance, this is known as sandbar. Then it's like other landforms. Okay, this is where depositional activities are there. This is what, beta? Depositional activities. Sand pebbles come together, come along with the oceanic current and get it deposited. Now we will be moving towards the erosional activities. We will be moving towards what? Erosional activities, beta. See particular these things like landforms known as cliff, wave cut platform, cave, arches, stacks are formed because of erosion. When there is hard rock, on which the pressure, on which the action of the wave, action of the agent of gradation, wave, is continuously applied, it forms two different landforms. For example, the number one here, headland. Number one here, headland. This piece of rock that stands stiff after the action of the wave also, this is known as headland. ठीक है, the between part which is eroded because of the action of the waves, it is known as what? Arc. If I said wind somewhere, I am wrong, it is waves. Okay, so it is known as arc. ठीक है, the pillar that is standing stiff because of the what we can say, even because of the action of the wave, this is known as sea stack. ठीक है, this is known as sea stack. So yes, this actual landscape exists. Okay, so these are the landforms formed by waves, action of waves. Okay, moving towards glacier. Beta, now glacier erosion is something we need to understand. What are glaciers? Glaciers means the water in the form of ice, ठीक है, the water in the form of ice, because either they are found in mountains where the temperature level is quite low, ठीक है, where the temperature level is quite low. But what happened? The temperature changes by the movement of sun also. Whenever the sun is towards the Tropic of Cancer, there is northern, like in the northern region, there is extreme heat, which sometimes leads to what? Sometimes leads to melting of those glaciers. Then again freezing of those glaciers. So don't you feel that this action of water changing into different forms will create a change in the landform? Yes, do. Yes, they do, right? The ice we have is in different state, will require different place, like amount of place to be stored. It will have different density, its strength will be different in comparison to the water in liquid state, which actually creates pressure in the rocks. See, if there is a rock and there is a breakage in between and there is flowing water, the pressure will be less. But whenever there is freezing glacier, it will create the pressure, will drift it into two parts. Okay. So yes, glacier erosion also cause some landforms such as U-shaped valley. As I just told you, there is a cirque. What is cirque? See, whenever I am telling anything to you, see the pictures. Pictures can also only and only help you in that. Okay, cirque is basically bowl-shaped depression at the head of the glacier. So this is a glacier in which there is a bowl-shaped place where water is in its glacial form. ठीक है, this is cirque. Then we have cirques. Then we have RTs. RTs basically sharp ridges between the valley. What it is, beta? Acha, sorry. This is, yeah. No, I'm correct here. So this is beta what? Sharp ridge, sharp mountain point in these valleys. ठीक है. Then we have hanging valleys. Hanging valleys where what happen? Where smaller glacier meet the larger ones. We have beta hanging valleys also. Then we have fjords, deep narrow inland created when the sea floods glacial valleys. ठीक है. So there are lot of different landforms formed due to glacial actions also. Like here is the picture exactly of this hanging valley. Where is hanging valley? This is hanging valley. So these are the mountain areas. Suddenly a steep side is there. Then U-shaped valley. What is U-shaped valley? U-shaped valley, again the similar one which was formed due to the action of running water. The same can be formed because of the action of glacial whenever the erosion is sidewise strong, forming this type of U-shaped valley between the glacial region. ठीक है? See here, whenever there is lateral erosion more, here see, ठीक है, it can even leads to U-shaped valley. Glaciers are there. Mid moraines are also there. Small hills. ठीक है, where glacial water is stored. Then lot of things. After that the river flows when the temperature drops, etc. Getting my point? So yes, think about it. A devastating flood struck the Chamoli district in Uttarakhand in February 2021, which affected the people and the livestock, lost their lives. There was severe damage to building, road, bridges and hydel projects and connectivity to village was adversely affected. Can you find out the reason that lead to sudden and unexpected flood? So there are a lot of times there are flood outbursts. Okay? We know about the Kedarnath case also. So what are the basic reasons causing those flood? Is it the glaciers? Yes, right? It is actually the glaciers which sometimes are not able to hold the water, and eventually what happen? It moves towards the areas where livelihood or the settlements are there. Certain examples are there which cause devastating flood. Right now we are seeing the flood of in Assam also. So these features are the result of it. Okay. So now let us move towards the next agent of gradation, and that is what? Wind. What up till now we have completed? Running water, glacier, and now it is the high time we should move to wind. Beta, wind erosion. Again, what is erosion? Erosion is a process in which sediments are transported from one place to another by different agents of gradation, and one among them is wind, which creates or causes what? Wind erosion. Okay, it occurs when strong wind pick up and carry away those loose particles of sand and soil, gradually shaping the landscape. By how the landscapes are formed? Beta, there are different type of landscape formed due to the action of the wind. One among them is Yardung's ma'am. We will remember all of them. There are a lot of landscape. Beta, visualize it, see it, and then we have to remember all of them. Okay? I will suggest you one more thing. When you go outside, see the rocks, see the structure of the rocks, and figure out how it is formed. What are the agent of gradation that leads to its formation. Okay? So one among them is Yardungs. They are streamlined rock ridges carved by wind. So what happened, beta? For example, this was a strong rock. Okay? In between, what happened? In between of this rock, due to the action of continuous wind, a part of this is eroded. Okay? Leaving it like a structure in which some of the rocks are standing still, streamlining there. Right? This is known as what? Yardungs. Then we have ventifact. What is that? Which are rocked, polished and shaped by sandblasting. So basically, it is, let's see, just a second. Okay. So these are ventifact are the rocks that become polished when the sand, because of the wind, is moving around it and making a friction. With the help of friction, it is polishing it. Then we have lot more to study, right? Lot more to study, like hollows or blowouts, shallow depression formed where loose material is removed. So this was the area. Now what happened? Those loose sediments moved away, transported. This shallow area which is formed is known as what? Hollow. We have like more desert pavements, settlement patterns. We have dunes. Dunes is one of the most important, what we can say, landform factor. Yeah, landform structure formed by the action of the winds. Let's have a look over that. But there are three types of dunes. First of all, what are dunes? Dunes are the mountain-like structure which are formed when, due to the action of wind, sand is carried away and then deposited at another place. That deposition gradually create the structure like hills. Okay, those small hills formed of what? Formed of sand is known as dunes. There are three different type of dunes that are listed in our book. Okay? Again, what are dunes? They are hills or ridges of sand formed by the action of wind in desert region. But in desert region, why it is like possible with the help of winds that the transportation is more, the sedimentation or erosion or deposition is more, because there is scarce vegetation. The scarce vegetation is actually not stopping the winds to take those sands, and hence whenever they deposited in a way that a small hills are found, they are known as dunes. We have three types of dunes. Okay, the first one here is Barchan dune. Okay, Barchan dunes are the type of hills which are actually formed in a manner that they look like crescent moon. See here the picture. Okay, so this is a hill where sand is there, but from this side, because from this side wind is coming, making it flat, and hence a crescent moon type structure is formed. The second one is that transverse dune. Okay, that is transverse dune. What happens in transverse dunes? In a small region, there are small transverse, that mean in a single line, small hills of sand, particularly here. And the third one is star dune. Okay, star dune, which have a flat surface from all the sides of it, making it look like a star structure. Okay, this is one of the depositional landform made by the wind, formed by the wind. Do you feel that it is over? No, bhai. We have one more agent of gradation, and what is that? That is underground water. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, underground also, whenever there is movement of water, is it affecting to the formation of land? By obviously. See, we know about the structure of the earth. We know that by what happens when the rain comes from the rivers, as well as whenever there is water, it goes inside the earth crust. It penetrates inside the earth crust. And do you know that the structure is not at all even? inside the earth, not the crust, I am saying, inside the first layer. So basically what happened na beta, that rocky surface, right, the rocky surface is also uneven below the layer we are living on, right, because it is formed of different types of rock. Like, let me give you an example, limestone, right? Because of the action of chemicals, because of the action of running water, there are a lot of landforms formed there, because limestone can change its structure by the effect of acids, by the effect of various other agent of gradation, and here the agent of gradation is underground water. Okay? Yes, so especially in the areas of limestone which is soft or soluble. Why I am saying here limestone? Because it is soluble rock, right? Soluble rock which change its form because of chemical weathering as well as erosion. Now what is chemical weathering? Because of the action of any chemical, because of the action of any acid. When the rocks are broken into two pieces, chemical weathering. When they get eroded, move to another place, erosion. So does it happen? Yes, it happens below the surface when limestones are there. So, right, so landforms are like caves. Now you know what is cave. I don't need to explain hollow-like structure between the rocks. Okay? Then we have stalactites. Remember that there are two things, stalactites. They are basically shape of like there is something hanging from the ceiling, like on the birthdays we usually hang some layers of papers and all that. Now similar such type of what we can say landform is seen over there. See this picture, I'll draw. Okay, for example, this is a solid rock, right, limestone rock, right, rock formed by which stone? Limestone. And here are certain hanging rocks over here. These rocks are known as what, my dear students? Stalactites, right? Similarly, we have the structures at the bottom of the surface also. And they are known as stalagmites, okay? Stalagmites. Okay, sinkholes or dolines are basically the holes, hollow-like structure, again formed due to the action of underground water. Okay, so what we have studied up till now, we will have a quick revision of everything because now the topic is somewhere over. Let's see what we have studied up till now since starting. Okay, let's have a recall, beta. We started this chapter with the introduction of earth surface. Okay, with the introduction of earth crust or the earth surface, in which we understood that beta, the earth crust is uneven because of two things. What are those? They are intrusive forces, that means forces that is applied inside the earth, as well as the extrusive forces, that mean the forces applied outside the earth, right? Then what we studied about first part was inside the earth surface. Okay, inside the earth crust or the earth surface. What we found that? We found that beta, there are three different layers in the earth, three layers of earth. What were they? The layers of earth were crust, mantle and core. Because of the difference in density, because of the difference in formation of all those layers, what happened? There is action of movement of magma as heat is coming out of core, leading towards the conventional currents in the molten state that is present in magma, which leads to the movement of plates. And now here I explained you about the plate tectonic theory. Plate tectonic theory. Think in your mind who gave this theory because we studied it today. Okay? Plate tectonic theory. After the plate tectonic theory, we saw that there are three different type of plates and the three different type of plate movements, boundary movements, which leads to the formation of several landforms like fold mountains, valleys, etc., etc. This is something we studied from the inside of the what we can say earth crust. Then we moved towards exterior surface where the first topic we studied was weathering bacha. In weathering, what do we study? There are three different types of weathering: physical, chemical, biological. right? And it leads to the formation of various landforms. Then we studied about erosion. Beta, in erosion, what you need to understand is about the landform formed by river, delta, levees, alluvial plain, waterfall, right? Do you remember? Then we studied about the action of glaciers. Okay. We studied about the action of wind, right? Dunes are formed, you know, mushroom rocks are also formed. So it is also like this shape of rocks, because what happened here, there is scarce vegetation. So the wind effect is more at the lower course of the rock, resulting it into the formation of mushroom-like structure. I just forget it there, and hence I added it here. Okay, and then we have the landform forms due to the action of ocean waves as well as currents, right? This is what we studied up till now. Now what, ma'am? Because of these landforms, beta, there are a lot of times disasters happen. Now what are disasters? See, disasters are something that is destroying the human as well as the natural life of animals as well as the plants too. Okay? Now disasters occur. Why? Two factors are there, natural factors as well as human factors. Because of the increase in population, we are changing the natural landscape, right? Because of our need, like building of dams. Now, if we build the dam, it actually obstructs the natural flow of river. Dams were actually created in a view that it will prevent us from floods. You know what has happened? It has actually changed the natural flow of river, resulting into more floods sometimes. So understand the point. So both the natural as well as the human factors leads to disaster. Disasters are associated with landforms and affect the human life abruptly. Lot, right? Now we will talk about all the important disasters that happen in India. Okay? We will also talk about the prevention methods that we need to keep in mind. So certain boxes along with the pictures are given in the book. Let's have a reading of all of them. What is landslide? Beta, landslide is the combination of natural as well as human forces. How it is? What is landslide particularly? So in the hilly as well as mountain region, when a complete slab of land just drift and slide down, this is a natural disaster that is known as landslide. Again, what happens? In the hilly and the mountain region, when a slab of land drifts down, think about it, we went on mountain for a vacation, for a tour, and what happened? Landslide happened. Understanding the point, how dangerous it can be, right? Yes, it can be dangerous. So heavy and continuous rainfall. One reason for landslide can be heavy, very heavy and continuous rainfall in the mountain region, which can eventually erode it with the pressure of water, is one of the natural factor. And the other human factors are like more are there. First, we will talk about natural causes. Water seeps into the soil and rocks, increasing their weight and reducing friction. Again, what happened? When the soil have lot of water in it, the weight of the soil will increase. That land area, the weight will increase, okay, and the friction will reduce, making it to slide down rather than holding there itself. Okay? So earthquake and volcanic eruption can also trigger landslide. Again, what is earthquake? Shaking of the earth, right? Because of the shaking of the earth, this landscape can occur in the hilly and mountainous region. However, there are a lot of human activities like deforestation. Beta, whenever there is forest, the trees, the roots hold that soil with its, so hold that land with its. But when we are doing extreme deforestation in that region, what will happen? The holding capacity or the soil to remain there will decrease. Okay? More are there like mining. Again, in mining, we are destructing the natural land. Okay? Road construction, unplanned construction, etc., etc. Along with that, poor drainage system is also one of the reasons for landslides in India, not only in India, everywhere. Okay? We have one more. We have here one more, what we can say as a disaster, avalanches. Right? What are avalanches? Basically, we can say that it is landslide, but in the mountain region filled with snow. Understanding the point, what is the difference between landslide and avalanches? They are basically the sudden instability of snow on steep mountain region. Whenever it is steep mountain region, the snow is not stable. What will happen? It will gradually, right, slide down. And this is known as avalanches. A sudden rise in temperature can also cause it. Because of it, partial melting, partial melting which will actually divide the snow, leading to its destruction. Reducing the friction holds the snow together. Strong wind can also be a reason, or human factors like trekking, construction in the mountain region can disturb the balance of the snow covered areas. So one is this, and the third one is GLOF. Now what is this GLOF? GLOF is basically glacial lake outburst flood. Okay? There are lot of times in the region like Kedarnath not recently, I would say some years back, we got to know about the massive outburst, right? Outburst of flood in the region of Kedarnath. What is that? That is basically glacial lake outbursts flood. What do you mean by this? Beta, this is sudden release of like volume of water, and that is coming from the glacial region. We know about global warming. We know about increase in temperature. What does it cause? It causes what? Melting of the glacier. And whenever it is in high volume, what will happen, beta? These glacial lakes, due to natural and climatic factors, suddenly release that volume of water in the land area where people are living. Rapid melting is because of the rising temperature, as I just told you. Okay? Increasing the water level, putting the pressure on the natural dams made of ice and loose moraines. Heavy rainfall can also be a factor for that. Earthquake, avalanches, as well as certain human factor is the reason that they are moving towards downstream. So this is GLOF, that is again glacial lake outburst flood. Students, full form can also come. Okay, so remember that too. And now here it is dust storm. So just some around 1 or 2 months back, you might be hearing about the news in the Delhi region, right, northern India wala region, that there is so much of dust storms being sighted there. Now how does it is caused? So beta, dust storms are caused by strong winds lifting large amount of loose dry soil and sand into the air. Actually, what happened, whenever there is a time before the rainy season, wherever there is scarce vegetation or the vegetation is quite dry, during that time harsh winds are there. During that time harsh winds, just in the summer, end of the summer, harsh winds are there, causing what? Taking those loose sediments and in the air with massive speed. That is known as what? Dust storms. Prolonged drought or low rainfall dry out the soil, making it easier for wind to pick up the fine particles. I just told you. So it is just after the summer region when there is no moisture. It is common in desert and semi-arid region where it is loose and dry. Soil is loose and dry. Several factors can be like deforestation, overgrazing, poor farming practices that leads to it. And the climate change, and climate change is also associated with various human activities. Okay, got it? Very good. So beta, this is about the entire chapter, Earth's surface, right? This first chapter of our geography book, second chapter of our part 1 book. The book is same, by the way. I just want to say here is second chapter from the part 1 book, and the first chapter from geography is completed line by line from NCERT. Again, I mean words line by line. Hope when I was marking the important points, you were also marking. Hope you also cited those important points which I meant in this particular session. Okay, my dear students, very good. Very good for completing one chapter. Before we move on, we have something here because NCERT gave that to us, that is a recall. What is that? Earth is made up of layers. Okay, by name them: crust, mantle, core. Okay, interior of the earth. Because of the interior forces, what happens? Earthquake happen, volcano, folding, faulting are responsible for the movement of the crust. Yes, ma'am, we know that. There are external forces like weathering and erosion that leads to several landforms which affect human life in multiple ways. Yes, ma'am, we know this now because we just learned. The surface of the earth is carved by agents of gradation like running water, waves, tides, glacier winds and underground water. Because of all those disaster happen. So basically they wanted to tell us that beta the chapter lies on certain points, and those are first one, right? Outside the the chapter's parameters are inside the earth. Okay, inside the earth, where we learned about its interior structures and the factors along with it. Then we talk about movements of the plate which leads to the formation of several landforms. Third one is about external forces which contain the phenomena like weathering and erosion. Then we will talk about landforms that are formed because of the agents of gradation, and the last one, that is disaster and its management. So beta, let me tell you, there are certain points not written here regarding disaster mitigation as well as management. So we also have national disaster right? We also have certain organizations that are particularly working for the mitigation as well as prevention method. Like, see, because of the technology, we can sometimes predict the disaster, but we can't stop it eventually. Irony is that we are not able to stop it. Rather, we can take certain pre as well as post actions to prevent the human life from becoming disastrous. Right? Certain agencies of the government and certain NGOs are working in respect to this. Is the chapter over? Yes, the chapter is over with some questions listed over here. These are the questions and activities added like for you in the NCERT, and I hope that you are going to do that. Okay? I will just read the question and refer what the answers are for these questions and what you have to write. Rest, you will be doing it today. Question number 1. What are the sources of energy that are required to cause movement associated with internal forces of Earth? So basically, what are the force? Basically, they are asking about sources of energy. So heat coming from the inside of the Earth leading to the conventional movement, right? All these are there. Along with that, we have forces like rotation and revolution causing the movement inside the earth crust. This is what you have to write. Second question, relate various psychological divisions you have studied in the earlier grades with various endogenic forces responsible for their origin. Beta, here relate this answer with with physiographic divisions of India. Like the first physiographic division of India is Himalayas. How are they formed, bacha? Himalayas are formed when the plate, that is Eurasian plate, collided with Indo-Austrian plate. Isn't it a factor? Yes. Then we have one more, that is Deccan Plateau. Okay? How is Deccan Plateau formed? Because of the result of volcanic eruption. It is the result of what? Volcanic eruption. Then again, you can talk about the plateau of, like, not plateau of India. We can talk about the Western Ghats being high in comparison to the Eastern Ghats. We will say that it is submerged under it. This is how, with the help of physiographic divisions, you can tell everything. Okay, chalo. Question number 3, why and where do earthquakes occur frequently? Is it possible to predict earthquake? Yes. So, earthquake occur, first of all, in this type of question, define what is earthquake. Okay? Then define how does it occur because of the plate tectonics, that means movement of the plate. Is it possible to predict earthquake? Yes, it is possible. We can even see the change in the animal behavior as well as seismic waves help us to predict what? Earthquake. The device is known as what? Seismograph. Okay, very good. Plate movements are responsible for the distribution of earthquake and volcanoes. Explain. Beta, here you have to just tell about the plate movements. Okay, convergent plate movement, divergent plate movement, as well as transform plate movement. Good. Draw a well-labeled diagram of meander and delta. I just told you diagrams are going to come. So this is meander, and whenever the river brings a triangular shape, you will be forming where all the sediments are deposited. Okay, do it nicely. Question number 6. How are deforestation and erosion associated with each other? By what happens? Deforestation, we cut the forest. What will happen? They leave the soil loose because there are no roots now to hold that soil, and it will be like easy, or it will be facilitated by the action of water, wind, etc. to carry those loose sediments and cause erosion. Get it? Very good. Develop a plan to protect the land in your local areas for erosion. You know what we have to write? You not need to develop a plan. You're not that smart enough. Neither you are the officer in the municipal corporation. You just need to tell the ways of land conservation. Okay? There are the different ways of land conservation, like plowing, right, bundling, or what we can say terrace farming. The examples which are given in the book. Okay? Very good. Which disaster do you think you might experience in your region? Discuss a mitigation plan in your classroom. So beta, if you are living in coastal region, talk about the floods. If you are living in a dry region, you are from Rajasthan, talk about drought. If you are watching me right now from the Himalayan region, talk about landslides, earthquake, etc. Now this is something you have to do according to your region, right? Okay, prepare a model of landforms created by underground water. Everything is in the chapter. Go and see. What precautionary measures will you take if you are staying in an earthquake-prone region? Why this is being told to you since class 6. All the precautionary measures, like do not stay in the building, try to come out, but do not use the lift, or hide yourself beneath the table, etc., etc. Okay? Prepare a map showing landform associate disaster that happened in the current calendar year. This is an activity type of question, not going to come in exam. The rest is also beta poster making, document making, etc. However, when I talk about the questions coming in exam beta, meanwhile I was teaching, I explained them all of them to you. Okay? So this is it. NCERT line by line. I hope the complete chapter is well understood to all the students watching me right now. I just have one request from that. Beta, this is new series we started. We already published these lectures, but this time I wanted it straight from the NCERT that is newly published by CBSE. I have a request that whichever chapter you want next, right? It will depend upon demand basically. Whichever chapter you want next, just write in the comment section and you will be getting it super soon. Every week from my side, one chapter NCERT line by line is going to come. Up till then, I am giving you the time of entire week. Learn it, mug it, practice, NCERT solution, do it all what you can do. 1 week, let's take the target of 8 weeks and complete SST before your midterms, before your half yearly. Agree or not? Yes, agree. You don't have any option, by the way. Okay, so prepare well, my dear students. Up till then, take care. I'm going to come and bring the next lecture again on the same platform, that is Diksha Vedantu CBSE English. Okay, bye-bye.